The boxing world was stunned when Anthony Joshua, a two-time heavyweight champion, agreed to fight Jake Paul, a YouTube star turned boxer. This wasn't just a fight, it was a collision of two worlds. For Joshua, it was a shot at redemption after a tough loss to Daniel Dubois. For Paul, it was the ultimate test to prove he belonged in the ring with real champions. The Kaseya Center in Miami was sold out, and millions tuned in, eager to see if the underdog could survive. Traditional boxing fans and a new generation of viewers came together for this cultural moment. Would Joshua's experience crush Paul, or could Paul's determination shock the world? The stakes were high, the atmosphere electric. Everyone had an opinion, but only the ring would decide. This was the magic of Joshua versus Paul. Anthony Joshua, Olympic gold medalist and former unified heavyweight champion, was the definition of a classic boxer. His journey from humble beginnings to the pinnacle of the sport inspired millions, and his discipline in and out of the ring set a standard for what it means to be a true professional. He'd faced the best, mastered the science, and was hungry for a comeback. Every punch he threw was backed by years of experience, and every setback only fueled his determination to reclaim his place at the top. Jake Paul, on the other hand, built his career on social media before stepping into the ring. He was a YouTube sensation, a digital native who turned internet fame into a new kind of boxing stardom. Many doubted him, but he'd proven his power and dedication, even beating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. With each fight, he silenced critics and showed he was more than just a celebrity looking for attention. Joshua brought years of elite training and championship experience. He was a master technician, respected by purists and feared by opponents for his strength and skill. Paul brought youth, confidence, and a powerful right hand. He was unpredictable, unorthodox, and carried the energy of a new generation, eager to shake up the sport. Their backgrounds couldn't be more different. One a polished pro, the other a disruptor. Yet both were driven by the same hunger to win and prove themselves on the biggest stage. The question, could Paul's unconventional rise and raw power match Joshua's pedigree? Fans and experts alike debated endlessly, wondering if the new school could truly challenge the old guard. This clash of old school and new school boxing made the fight irresistible. It was more than just a match. It was a cultural moment, a battle of eras that captured the imagination of fans worldwide. The world was about to find out if hype could stand up to history. Millions tuned in, eager to witness whether the brash newcomer could topple a seasoned champion. The stage was set for a true test of eras, where legacy and ambition would collide in a night that promised to redefine what boxing could be. Before Joshua, Jake Paul was set to fight Gervonta "Tank" Davis in a high-profile exhibition. That bout was cancelled after Davis faced serious legal trouble, leaving Paul without an opponent. The disappointment was huge. Paul had trained hard for a different style of fight. But with the Davis fight off, Paul's team looked for an even bigger challenge. That's when Anthony Joshua's name surfaced. At first it seemed impossible. A heavyweight legend versus a social media star. But both camps were interested. Joshua wanted a comeback. Paul wanted the ultimate test. Negotiations moved quickly, and the fight was set for December in Miami. The cancelled Davis fight unexpectedly paved the way for one of boxing's most talked-about matchups. Sometimes, a setback opens the door to something historic. The world was ready for Joshua versus Paul. The opening bell in Miami unleashed a tactical battle, setting the stage for a night where strategy would matter just as much as strength. Jake Paul surprised everyone by going on the defensive right from the start, using slick footwork, head movement, and frequent clinches to frustrate Joshua and disrupt his rhythm. Joshua pressed forward relentlessly, trying to land his jab and right hand, but Paul's evasive tactics made it tough for him to find his target cleanly. Paul wasn't landing much, but he was dictating the pace, making Joshua chase him around the ring and forcing the bigger man to burn precious energy early. The early rounds felt like a chess match, Paul the elusive mouse, Joshua the stalking cat, each waiting for the other to make a mistake. By round 4, Joshua's frustration was visible in his eyes and body language, but he stayed composed, cutting off the ring and landing hard body shots whenever he saw an opening. Paul's strategy wasn't pretty, but it was effective. He was surviving against a heavyweight powerhouse, using every trick in the book to stay out of danger. The crowd was split. Some admired Paul's cleverness and ability to avoid damage, while others grew restless, hungry for more action and big punches. Joshua's patience and professionalism kept him from making mistakes, as he waited for the right moment to unleash his power. The question lingered in the air. How long could Paul's tactics hold up before Joshua's power and experience finally broke through his defenses? The tension in the arena was palpable, every fan on the edge of their seat, waiting for the momentum to shift. With each passing round, the stakes grew higher, and the sense of anticipation built with every bell. Both fighters knew the real fight was just beginning, and the crowd could feel that something explosive was just around the corner. By round 5, Joshua finally cracked the code. He'd spent the early rounds studying Paul's movement, reading his patterns, and now everything clicked into place. He began to cut off Paul's escape routes with precision, trapping him against the ropes and landing sharp, punishing jabs that forced Paul onto the defensive. Paul's movement slowed noticeably, his footwork faltering under the pressure. Sensing his opponent's fatigue, Joshua seized the moment, launching a hard right that sent Paul stumbling across the ring. Without hesitation, Joshua followed up with a devastating left hook that dropped Paul to the canvas for the first time in the fight. The crowd erupted, their cheers echoing through the arena as Paul barely managed to beat the referee's count and get back to his feet. Sensing victory, Joshua pressed the attack relentlessly, trapping Paul in the corner and unleashing a barrage of heavy shots that left no room for escape. Paul hit the canvas again, exhausted and hurt, but somehow, through sheer willpower, he survived the round and clung to hope. The difference in class was now undeniable. Joshua's experience, power, and ring intelligence were taking over, leaving Paul struggling to keep up. Paul's early confidence had vanished. His body language showed frustration and doubt, while Joshua was now in complete control of the fight's tempo. The middle rounds became a showcase for Joshua's championship pedigree, as he demonstrated why he was considered one of the best in the world. Paul's heart and determination kept him in the fight, but Joshua's superior skill and relentless pressure were simply overwhelming. The momentum had shifted decisively. With every exchange, it became clear. The end was drawing near, and Joshua was firmly in command. The 6th round began with Paul still reeling from the previous knockdowns. Joshua, calm and focused, closed in for the finish. Paul tried to clinch, but his energy was gone. Joshua landed a crisp jab, then a brutal right hand to the jaw. Paul collapsed, unconscious before he hit the canvas. The referee waved it off instantly. No count needed. Joshua had delivered a spectacular knockout, reminding everyone of his devastating power. The crowd erupted as medical staff rushed in, but Paul was okay. Joshua stood tall, victorious in emphatic fashion. After the knockout, Joshua showed respect, checking on Paul and sharing a brief embrace. In his post-fight interview, Joshua praised Paul's toughness and called out Tyson Fury for his next challenge. Paul, battered but honest, admitted defeat and revealed he'd suffered a double broken jaw. He was taken to the hospital but vowed to return to boxing, planning a move back to cruiserweight. The fight was a harsh lesson for Paul. Facing a true heavyweight was a different world. Still, he earned respect for his courage and willingness to take risks. Joshua's win restored his momentum and put him back in the heavyweight title conversation. Both men left the ring changed, one victorious, one humbled, but both respected. The Miami crowd witnessed a dramatic night of heart and power. The story of Joshua versus Paul was already legendary. The co-main event featured Alicia Baumgardner defending her title against Leila Baudouin. Baumgardner dominated from start to finish, using her jab and power to control every round. Baudouin showed heart, but couldn't match Baumgardner's skill or speed. The fight went the distance, but the judges' unanimous decision was never in doubt. Baumgardner's performance was a showcase of elite women's boxing. She retained her title and thrilled the Miami crowd. While Joshua versus Paul grabbed headlines, Baumgardner's victory was a highlight of the night. Women's boxing shined on the big stage. The aftermath of Joshua versus Paul set both fighters on new journeys. Joshua, rejuvenated, called out Tyson Fury and hinted at a possible fight in Saudi Arabia. His win over Paul restored his status as a top heavyweight contender. Paul, recovering from injury, planned to return to cruiserweight and rebuild. The fight proved that crossover events can electrify boxing and attract new fans. Joshua's professionalism and power stole the show, but Paul's bravery earned respect. Both men left Miami with clear goals. Joshua chasing heavyweight glory, Paul seeking redemption. The sport was changed by their clash. Boxing's future looked brighter than ever.